Hey everybody, Sergio, Gary, Frank, Mad, Keith, John, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. So we've got today, August 19th, FOMC minutes coming up tomorrow, about 2 p.m. And then Jackson Hole Symposium coming up on Friday with Powell speaking. Hey Tara. And then, we can break down a little bit of that. Then we'll talk about 30 minutes of your request. As always, a reminder, channel members will get priority and as many tickers as you want. And if you are not a channel member, you're just a regular channel subscriber, your name's not in green, or you don't have a little star by your name, then you get 3. Take your top 3 when you make requests. I'll hit them. And yeah. So invite your friends. It's a good time. We'll do at least 30 minutes of requests and maybe more if that's what it takes. But the crowd is just thin. Wrap it up. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Kimberly's here. And here we go. So all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. I make predictions. Sometimes they come true, but it's not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Sometimes, I may never get another prediction right again, so you got to be careful. And there's a substantial risk of loss anytime you trade anything, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos. So if you want somebody just to tell you what buttons to push to make money in the market, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor, because that's not what I do. I have no fiduciary duty to you. So please be careful. There's a substantial risk of loss. So Jackson Hole Symposium coming up this week. Like I said, we've got the FOMC minutes tomorrow right here. Are they going to be dovish or bear? I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's wide speculation that the powers that be, FOMC, is going to cut anywhere from a quarter point. Everybody thinks it's a quarter point, like 75% likely, right? 78% on poly market, I guess. And the interest rates really don't support that. And then, so I guess we'll see what they were thinking. This is not a meeting. This is just the minutes from the last meeting that was July 31st. It's from that July 31st meeting a couple weeks ago. And then, of course, the symposium starts on Thursday, and it kind of wraps up with Jerome Powell speaking right here. I guess I circled just below it. He's going to speak at 10 a.m. Eastern time, right there. I guess any policy shifts they may have, and then day 3 of the symposium goes on Saturday, right there. This is their annual get together. Who's got the biggest, fastest jet? All that junk out there in Jackson Hole. I guess we'll see what happens. I have no strong feelings. It kind of set the tone, but at the same time, we're gonna get this news on the 5th. We get the monthly jobs report coming up on September 5th. And then the FOMC meeting's down here on the 17th. So is that jobs report and revision going to come in absolutely horrible like we did last month when Trump fired the BLS head? It's very likely that things are going to go sour, and all the million jobs that we've created in the last couple of years are just going to evaporate. So that could set the tone that, Powell looks at stable market prices and, market stability as like the first tenet, and the second time is full job employment. And then the third tenet's like controlling inflation. So if employment is taking a bath, or if they've been basing all of their decisions on employment numbers that are fantasy land, on jobs that, a strong jobs market that just isn't. Might we be already starting down I mean, a big cut in the past, just in case you haven't stayed up with historical events here. Big cuts in the past where the orange, which is the Fed funds rate, has gotten above the market rate, has led to a financial crisis every single time. Dot-com bust, great financial crisis, COVID, and now what do we got right here? And this is every time since I've been trading, what I consider modern trading times, the electronic digital age of the internet. So every time this has kind of happened, big market freakout over and over and over. And what do we got coming right here? We do another big cut. Could kick off a return to ZIRP, zero interest rate policy. But will that pull mortgage rates and all that other thing down with it? It's a big question. Definitely a big question. Thank you, Underwater Video, for becoming a channel supporter. I do appreciate it. Thanks for becoming a channel member. So we're sitting right here. They have a range 4 to 4 point. I guess it's 4.25 to 4.5 is the current range we're in. And if they cut a quarter point, that'll put it, between 4 and 4.25. And if they cut a half point, that puts it down here, basically where the market rate is. I mean, they thought they messed up right there. It scared them, and they've been sitting there for a year. Now, over the past 12 months, or I guess during this year, there's been 88 worldwide central bank cuts. 88 cuts by other central banks worldwide. US has made 0. And that's one reason why Trump thinks we should cut. Bank of England cut last week, and their mortgage rate jumped. So look at I can never remember what it's called. Mortgage 30 US. There it is. Look at the mortgage rate. It's running quite a bit higher. You'd be like, well, ask Grok, ask Gemini, ask ChatGPT. They all spout this crap that the mortgage rate is tied to the Fed rate. Looks like it's closer to a 10-year Treasury rate. DGS 10. There we go. But I don't know. I say it's closer to the 10-year, but that mortgage rate was up here at 6. Like, the bank's got to maintain some profit, whatever. I don't think it's that simple. And if as you pry into the AIs, the chatbots more and more, they admit that it's the banks that set the rate. Okay, I'm like, okay, there's 5,000 banks. Which banks are they that set the rate? And it's like, oh, it's a blend of the biggest banks. And it's like, oh, so this is all full of crap. So there's some sort of market consensus rate that affects us all, but not really controlled by anybody. Seems kind of whacked out to me. But it takes into consideration the risk and then this and then that. I'm like, okay, whatever. Doesn't sound, yeah. I keep an eye on this. There's no room for the Fed to cut, really, at this point. Do you think they can cut half a point? But that'll put them right on top of the market rate. I don't know. Maybe they could cut a quarter point. But what if they cut a quarter point and this jumps and gets above? And then they have to, they don't want to look like idiots and have to raise the rate again. That's the one thing they don't want to do. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't actually talk to ChatGPT, so the ChatGPT is you have to understand these are statistical language models. So they statistically predict what word should come next based on the prior word that was given in the context of the situation. So it's all like it can just make stuff up because it's all just a statistical model and highly dependent on what it's trained on. And there are, I guess, lines of intelligent life that could come through that, but I don't know, or lines of intelligent consciousness. But lots of people are skeptical that the machines could be there. So yeah, stuck between Trump saying cut and the rates sitting right below you, and the risk of a financial crisis. So problems. Problems is what I would say. I don't have a strong feeling on cutting. Maybe the next couple of days we'll find out. But this is all economics too. And the funny thing about economics is that they work completely opposite of the stock market. So the stock market, when prices go higher, demand goes higher. In economics, when prices go higher, demand goes lower. So, big difference between economics and the stock market. Stock market, when prices go lower, demand tends to go lower. And in economics, when prices go lower, demand goes up. More people can buy. So that's completely opposite, and why a lot of the economic numbers and economic readings and economic things don't seem to have any effect on the market. It's opposite. All right. So you can't use those economic factors and predict things very well as far as outcomes in the stock market. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with that. It took me a long time to actually put words to it, why it was kind of like completely different. So be careful. As always. Yeah, I was on the profit panel talking about Celsius setting new. Look at that, new 52-week high today on Celsius, breaking above the 618. So this is starting to be spicy here. We could set up the bigger run right up in this area, maybe even up to the ideal target. Pretty nice. I do still expect a pullback though. That's a big move without a pullback. And we're starting to look like 5 up there. So, yeah. Scam likely keeps calling me. Good buddy. Apparently, I'm on some kind of tax debt collectors list, I guess, according to the scam. And it's funny that they all sound like they're driving down the street with the car window open. I mean, it's all exactly the same background noise. Like I had 10 of them on my voicemail. I played them all back to back to back. It was like the same background noise, different voice, different script, same background noise. I was like, this is all the same freaking thing, whatever it is. Just kept deleting it. Anyway, that one will probably be on my voicemail now too. And moving on. Let's take a look at some of the stuff we don't normally cover in the morning. Mornings, we cover S&P 500, we cover Russell, we cover Nasdaq, we cover gold, we cover oil, we cover Bitcoin, we cover Ethereum. So if you want to look at any of those, go watch the morning show. Here in the evening times for 30 minutes of awesome, we're going to talk about a few different things by popular request, not just rehash what we've already covered. So what's different? Well, we talk about European oil. This right here, down into 618 retrace. Has made one big move down, a retrace, and if this completes, we may see it plummet down here, make kind of a triple bottom, maybe 1, 2, and 3. Maybe go lower low. That would be ideal, but it doesn't look as likely to dip into the 50s as West Texas Intermediate, or CL. Right there. CL running a bit light. Gasoline, look at that gap down. Whew. Contract rollover, big gap down. That's kind of wild. It's a big gap down right there. We went from the September contract to the October contract, made a big step down. And gasoline could push down. Downside would be $1.80 wholesale. Doesn't include taxes or anything like that. Maybe like gasoline's way higher than that where I live. Well, this is wholesale prices. They add a ton of taxes and all sorts of other crap to it. So, heating oil, which is diesel fuel, doesn't have that big gap. We do have the potential. First move down, retrace right to, here's the high right there. And a potential to drop on down here. Down to that $2.10, 205, 210 area. That'd be interesting for diesel fuel. So, bit negative on those. Nasdaq. Natural gas also has this pattern I've been talking about for a few weeks now. That probably going to dip down in this zone. 245, maybe down to 215, possibly even down to 2. A few people told me I was crazy, especially when we were up here. When I called for breaking below 3, well, guess what? There we are. And we might push even lower. And we, coming into almost the top of the target there. Originally when we were dipping over here, I expected it to go a little further. We got a bounce, and now we're back down, scraping on my target area. But the nature of the whole big bounce down off of that March high sets up maybe an extension down to this lower 230 area, 215 to 245. Be like, well, how would I play that? You could play with UNG or Boyle or, things like that. Just be careful on leverage. Gold, we cover in the mornings. Silver, looks like we might get that move that I drew on here. Look at that. That'd be beautiful to see. Only been talking about that for freaking months. Ever since we broke up over here. Back in June. Yeah, I'd love to see that retrace. Silver could be a big outperformer this year. Almost bought on the big flush back here. It just came up just shy of what I expected. So now we got a big move up. Looking for that retrace. And if we hit it, might be game on right there. This may be the last retrace we get before we go busting out. So silver has been a laggard. Gold. There I am, moving my alerts. Give me an alert I just freaking set. Awesome. Gold has been outperforming way up here, while silver hasn't even broken out yet. We've got this high back here. We tried to break out, got slammed back down. If we can break out, could be 59 to 81 on the upside. If we caught up to gold, we could see a major pop. It'd be absolute, almost insanity. We saw a pop into mid triple digits for silver. It just doesn't even seem possible, but anything's possible. It's not very probable, I guess you might say. Then we go look at copper. Dr. Copper got slammed. That looked like a legit breakout and then slammed right back down. We're pushing the limits here. If we break below this 434 area, we might take an extension down into the 380 area on copper right there. Very possible. I've got other stuff like corn and wheat and lumber and housing and, do you even know they had housing futures? It's kind of interesting. Look at that. Thing ripping. What could possibly go wrong, right? Didn't even do a correction back here. Just ripping higher. Housing futures, ridiculous. What could possibly go wrong? Right? So I guess we're to that moment in the show where we can do requests. So channel members, you one per person per request. Let somebody else go. You know, if you request multiple tickers, I'll just skip it. And then anything I cover in the morning, S&P, Nasdaq, Russell, gold, oil, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that. Just go watch the morning show. So I'm not going to cover that again. Trying to make this a little smoother, easier to go. So if any of your requests are cover those tickers, check out the morning show. And there we go. So one ticker per person. Channel members get all the requests they want. I'll cover all the channel members first. Then I'll circle back around and hit subscribers. Subscribers, you get 3. I think it's pretty fair. Pick your top 3. I'm working for free here. I mean, it's just your time. So Lily possibly bottomed out. We had the first move down and a second move down, and we came all the way to the 1272 extension. The only problem with this is the nature of this is not clearly impulsive, as would be a finishing move. So maybe it's some sort of complex corrective, and this little bit right here, which kind of leaves a final move down possible. I'm not convinced that was it. Just not convinced that was the final move right there. Even this looks like 1, 2, 3. And just not clear on the finality of that move. Now it does line up with NVO. Looking like it possibly bottomed, poked through my target, and then reversed. UNH also poked right to the top of my target and then reversed. I think we may retrace here. And then ELV, another one that came right down in the target zone and then reversed. So a lot of healthcare potentially bottomed out right here in August. Need the confirmation though. So there you go. And let's see, I'll take XHB, housing. Yeah. First move up, second move up. We're in a potential correction. We're A, B, C. If we can get the push through that 618-ish zone where we had this consolidation and up to the 1618, that'll tip the odds that we may go on higher here. I know that 618 is in that wrong spot. There we go. So we got that. Got to push through all that stuff there. Gotta push, gotta push. It's really the zone of resistance is right there, right around 120. And we hit the highs there, we hit the highs there, we hit the high there, and we haven't been back up there. Like we poked back up, retested the high, and then failed through. Didn't even muster, didn't even maintain anything. So seeing some trouble. Look at Nail with a 3x leverage. It's still suffering. Look at DHI. It's coming back up nicely. We look at Lennar. And it just poked above the roadmap line. It's got a long way to go to a recovery. I warned when we broke down below. What's fascinating is that new home sales, or the average median new home sale, was cheaper than the average median existing home sale by almost $35,000. And I double checked that. That was actually June's numbers, not July's numbers. Misquoted earlier today. That was July's numbers. I mean, June's numbers, not July's numbers. So in June, and I guess we'll get July's numbers sometime. But in June, we saw the median home price in America for a new home cheaper than for an existing home. That just blows my mind. It was substantially cheaper. Usually we get like right together, but it was substantially cheaper. So moving on. IBIT is Bitcoin. I'm not going to spend much time on this. We very well could retest the breakout. Right here. We broke out. Resistance, 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 resistance. Broke out. Retest. Hold. And go. If we don't hold, back to the roadmap line. We don't hold that. Crypto summer's over. Yeah, simple as that. LHX. Potentially going on up to 330. STM. Potentially going on down to support right here. We're below the roadmap line. That's a negative bias. Here's support. We get below it. Downside target down at 16. Right there. And scroll the chat down. Oh, cool. Went all the way to the bottom. Beautiful. Dreamer. Robin Hood. Topped out. There's potential if we copy. So what I have drawn here is an echo in the market. We did a pullback back here, and we did an expansion here. We did a pullback here. We did the same expansion here, or we're doing the same expansion. So potentially that would top out somewhere around 40. I have this working pattern I find in the market where we copy corrections and we copy the results out of the corrections. And that would be a copy of the results. I would put a potential right there. And then if we copy that correction right up here, we could see a pullback back into the 60-70 zone. So we got a little upside, maybe 140, 150, and then potential to come back down in the 60-70 area. Be careful. I mean, it's like expansion, pullback, expansion, pullback, expansion, pullback. See this over and over and over. MCK, McKeeson, potentially going to hold the roadmap line here. We hammered, I guess, inverted hammer, whatever you want to call it. Poked down, made it move back up, closed red, and it's just sitting right on the roadmap line. If we get a bounce back up through that 618, back through the gap fill, set the upside target, probably 754 would be my expectation. Buying now, that's risky. This could just fail on down. And if you bought now, we came up here, we bounced off, we could go down for a third move and be an A, B, C down here. Where the first move down and the second move down, same size. At least the same size. Typically. Doesn't have to be. Just typically same size or slightly bigger. FBIN. It's coming up in a resistance. What says, I mean, this is an honest question. What says, hey, this stock is about to go on a big trend? I mean, it's a serious question. Like, oh, I think it's going back up to these highs. Maybe. But maybe it's doing one of these and we take another spill down because that looks like an A, B, needs a C to me. Big long-term correction. Downside target be right down here potentially to finish this up, where the first move down and the second move down are the same size or slightly bigger. If you thought you found something that was like gonna turn around big, be careful. All I'm doing is copy and paste. Now, I'm not predicting time. It's the hardest part of this. A lot of times the third move is not the same time-wise as the first move. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. Time-wise is not the prediction. And if you're sitting there going, he says March 26th at the bottom, it may or may not be. We could go back up. We could rally back up here to a 618 and then turn down. I don't know. Don't know for sure. VIK Viking Holdings just ripping. How high can she go? Well, kind of found a resistance there. Retrace the roadmap line would be my primary expectation, or we might just retest the breakouts and get continuation higher. Continuation higher, be up there around 72. A lot of times we see it back test the breakouts and then get continuation. There's kind of three pathways. You know, one, we just break through. Didn't do that. It kind of stopped. Two, we consolidate in this vicinity and then go higher. Three, we back test and then go higher. But then there's choice four, where we don't hold the breakout. We go down here. If we don't hold that, we go on down. And at the point where these things come together, this could be up here, this could be down here, and we could be out here when we test it all. So it's kind of interesting. I guess you might say. Oracle. You know, so this is one of the 10, the magnificent 10 as they call it. Or yeah, I guess you might say so 10 stocks have been responsible for 80% of the market gains off of the April lows of this year. Those 10 are Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Tesla, and basically the Magnificent Seven. And then you've got Oracle, Palantir, and Broadcom. So those 10, Oracle's one of these that's helped be responsible for 80% of the market gain on this rip right here. And we kind of topped out. Might be coming back to retest the breakouts. Saw a lot of big tech getting hit today. And FLX. Netflix taking a little spill, but found some support right there, the consolidation for the past few days. So T-Mobile. Had this on breakout watch here. We can fill that gap. So we've got a gap down back here in April. We fill the gap, sets the upside here, and potentially turns this baby into a runner. We can see it outperform to the upside. Starlink. Big driver. ANET. Broke out, 52-week highs, might retrace a little bit, but interesting thing about this one is there's a pattern here where if something breaks out to a new all-time high, which it hasn't closed the month out yet in a new all-time high, but if it can close the month out with a new all-time high after consolidating for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, so there's a pattern where we're in an uptrend. We consolidate for 3 to 6 months. Break out with a new all-time high. Typically, a stock that does this will continue to outperform the S&P 500 for the next 6 to 12 months by an average of 30%. It's kind of fascinating. I think it's interesting. You can see it back here. Took a little longer than 6 months, but then outperformed. So ANET has that potential. We need to see the month close out up here and then get that continuation higher. But as far as looking at the smaller time frame goes, you might do a retrace. Very well could come back down here. Came up shy of that 150. That would be my upside target. But I'd be cautious if we can't maintain the breakout here. Roadmap line down around 100-ish, 105-ish. Next up, Mara. Stuck at the roadmap line. There's resistance. Get through it. There's the resistance. Get through it. There's the resistance. Get through it. There's the resistance. It's got a lot of resistance. This thing's been chopping in this zone for a long time. What if we don't hold this? Back to 10. There you go. Looks pretty bad. And BE, Bloom Energy, hitting the target from the pullback. Pulled back. Bounced. What's the next upside? Well, thanks for asking. Potentially 60. And if we do a bigger expansion on a bigger time frame, 55 and 68. So, see, we struggled at that 618, pushing through, sets up that 55, 68. Which one's most likely? They're all most likely. All right, we may see something in this area. The bigger the time frame, the sloppier the price action, as you can see, like that. The 618 breakthrough, we just kind of blurred it up a little bit before we start ripping. It may come on up here, and we may even outperform, go up to a 1618, up around 120. Time will tell. Bounce up here. We'll probably do a back test of the breakouts, and then going up. That's what we got cooking on BE. And next up, AMZN, Mountain Vale Resorts. Somewhere. Probably type that in the chat. I don't know. Mouse jumps screens. It's so awesome. So as long as we are below the downtrend, down pressure is what we got. Roadmap line pointing down. Trend pointing down. Trend line of highs pointing down. In fact, that's a lower high. That's two lower highs. We break down, probably coming down here, 107. Sucks, but that's what we got. Might be lower than the COVID low. It's kind of funny. I was on the profit panel today, and Jack was talking about the jet ramp at Vail was parked full. Yet, Vail Mountain Resorts not telling that same story. Not telling that same story. It's kind of interesting. I feel like it's interesting. Cat consolidating, came up shy of the 445 target. Back testing that breakout. It's a big blurry line on the breakout. Like, you know, that was the high, yes, but it had two highs just underneath it. Commonly see this. So we tested back into those two highs. Now, if we push on up, there could be resistance at 445, but we could just push it on out to the 1272 up here around 471. Right up in there. Now, if we don't, if some sort of weakness comes in and we start pushing below the lows we've already established, support at the roadmap line, down around 380, 370, 380. CMI, target 409, 430 above that. CRM, come on. Dang it. Came up shy. Like, I wanted to see this dip actually get a little expansion down here. We did dip in the magic zone right there, I guess. Really wanted to see it get on down, though. So roadmap line, retrace, expansion. We got close. Retracing. I still expect more downside on Salesforce. I'd be careful chasing that one. I don't necessarily think that's the bottom. Could be. This is a much better place to find a bottom. Around 220. I know I got close there at 229, but and then even better would be a trip down to 190. I want to see this at the minimum right down in there, but this would be even better right here, and then turn around. GBRC. GBRC. Yeah, I don't think that's the right ticker, so don't think that's what you wanted. And AD&T. Is that the right one? AD&T. Yeah. My oh my. Got that high. We got the first move down. We got the retrace. Push down to 272. Yikes. I guess we held a 76 barely. Years ago, we consolidated right here. Look at that zone. So we consolidated here, broke down, came back up, spent a little time under, popped above, came back down, bounced off, couldn't go higher, pushed back down through, consolidated a little bit underneath, coming back up. Probably going to find some resistance at the top. Probably. That's lower highs. This chart does not scream opportunity to me. I'm sorry. Probably be big resistance right here. You may be like, well, I can make pretty good money right there. That's like 9, 10, 11 bucks right there. Yeah, be careful. Could stop at 28. Just doesn't have the, we need some sort of pullback, hold a higher low, convince me we're going to do upside. Otherwise, it could just be a correction and we go down again. ANET, already covered, I'm pretty sure. SMR. Coming back down pretty quickly to the roadmap line and retest the breakouts all at the same place. So all the things I've said can set up the next bounce. Here's the high, potential low, 58.63, 79, and possibly 86 on the next bounce. So we got cooking. Okay, that's SMR for you. BZH. Brazier Homes coming up to the 26, 27 target. Potential. Watch for another retrace. Or push higher. I mean, if you think it's going higher, it's got this big 618 for the big drop and that consolidation to break through right there. So that 28.20 area would be my concern. And then you have the uprights. You know, we're already right at this 50% retrace right there. The 786 one up here. And we've got the 618 right there. So we're at the primary, we're at the first resistance. Got the second resistance, the major resistance right there. And then we can break on higher through this one. Then we set up clear error and probably go higher. 42 would be the ultimate. But again, that's not a huge mover either way. We could develop into something even bigger, but got to get through all that resistance first. BZH run done, sun run. I mean, we're in the target zone. Could we go on up to 22? Sure. We did hit in that zone. That's where I expected it to go. There's solar coming up a little shy yet. It's potential to go a little bit higher there. But, they may be done. They may be done. And Chewy coming up into the resistance. We can poke through, except that bigger move. 51. Right there. Yeah. So we're coming up in here. I have a 42 strike put sold against my shares. We may retrace to the roadmap line before we can bounce and go. Very common pattern we see. New potential trend, pull back, continuation. Right there. And ECB. I think that's what I saw before the chat jumped all the way to the very bottom. ECG. ECG. Sure I get the right one. Yep. Not enough candles to really do much with. All I've got is this right here. That's the lowest low. This move up. There's no pullbacks. This little piece of roadmap line doesn't tell me much. Not really much I can say here. Maybe like, why don't you do your fib pullback thing? Because anything before the lowest low doesn't really matter. Like a lot of these have price action that's coming up, and this is just a pullback. But this, like, you don't know what happened here. This was the beginning. It's like, was this higher and it came down, or was this lower and it came up? We don't know. There's no chart for that. So all you can do is work off of this low. There's almost no pullback. So here's support. No idea on the upside at this moment. I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. There's no pullback to it, so to speak. Now down in the smaller time frames, it's like, yeah, there's a 30-minute pullback. We spiked up here. We pulled back as long as we hold. Here's the high. Here's the low. Got to break through 83.25 resistance to get the next upside target at 92. But if we break down here, how low could we go? Back to the daily roadmap line, basically. That would be kind of what I see. All right, MDB. Back up to the daily charts. I still expect this to take another trip down. We're finding significant resistance at this roadmap line, as we have. I mean, we've not gone anywhere since May. Just been sitting right here. Taking another trip down would be my expectation here. Pretty much, SWBI has done nothing except sit down here, consolidating at the limit. Looked good for a bounce, then no. We reported earnings and came down here and just sitting. And this looks like a slight downtrend. It may push even lower. 786 down here at 680. May go visit that. Yeah. I hold some couple hundred shares, but it's not, I mean, it's all holding on the bigger upside potential, which right now that resets. And can we go? Can we not go? I don't know. We don't actually have this intact anymore because we made a lower low. So now we're looking at the bigger move that goes this low, this high, this low, and could possibly come down. But if we can ever bounce and get into an uptrend, potential's way up here. Ridiculous numbers. Till we do that, still working on finding the bottom. KLPR. Could be a while. Maybe longer than you want to be messing with it. Got this low, we got this high, we got that retrace, that 618, potential 1, 2. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. This moved down, this retrace, that moved down. Didn't put the. Oh, nice. So this has the absolutely beautiful correction potential proportions. Has a first move up, a retrace, which fits with the A, B, C upside potential. And if it turns into a 1, 2, 3 upside potential, that'd be. And see, this is the kind of stuff I'm looking for right here. Got resistance at the gap fill and at the roadmap line. Get through that. This would be the minimum target, 93, and this would be the more ideal target up here, 123. And if we pulled back off of that, we could probably push on that move. Pulled over here. So instead of being an ABC, this is a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the. Now, how long would this take? Probably a while. Oh yeah, got the proportions. It's right in the money. We're looking for this to get continuation up here. Maybe a pullback. Maybe a push up here. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I can see this it may take a little while. Not too bad on that one. KMPR. Has nice proportions. Now, does it have to? No, there's things it's got to do to prove we're going to do it. Fill the gap, break back above the roadmap line, break back above this price action right here. Get back up through the 618, which is right at the gap fill. So this is an important area right here. Got to get above this area right here to go higher. All right. Sonos. Do you see what I see? A downtrend, a downtrend. Oops. Potentially going down. Was that the bottom? I don't know. As long as we're making lower highs. Downtrend intact. Maybe at a 52-week high, but that's. The resistance is futile at 15 area. I guess it's not making a 52-week high. Not yet. Still up here at these two highs. So, major resistance right there. It can break through. Probably has better upside potential. If not, be very, very careful on that one. Big up potential is not what I see. I see A, B, and C tops out. Oh man, that's not good. Not good. It turns down right there. Probably highly likely to make a lower low below 7. Right down there. Yikes. Right below the danger zone on that one. All right, TEMT. That's a 2x leverage. Be careful on 2x leverage. Pow, pow. Looking at TEM. Has potential for an upside move to 103, but that's kind of hitting its head. Why is it struggling here? Well, we've been here once, twice, tried to get through, rejected, couldn't make it, tested it here, and now we're here once again. Wow, this has been a fun trip for the last year. Just chugging. If we could break higher, right there would be the upside. Now, be like, well, what do you think for the leveraged ticker? It gives you an upside potential of 41, so it'd be at 80, between 70 and 80% upside potentially on the 2x leverage. But at the same time, if we retrace back down here, that's 20% downside. It's 40% downside when you 2x leverage it. So 80% upside versus a 40% downside. Gotta weigh your choices. Do you want to get involved in that? It doesn't look like it's going anywhere to me. Like, it just doesn't look like a banging chart for going. I mean, the trend. Where's the trend? Sideways, pretty much. It's full of three-wave moves, too. Yeah. Real choppy. I have no strong feelings there. If you think we're breaking out, go for it. Personal choice. Not for me. I like high probability trades, and that is not one of them. So, apparently previously outlined that this prior high would be resistance. This prior high would be resistance. So we're trying to push through that downtrend highs. And 20, basically 30 be next upside resistance, and then 32 above that. It's not been a big mover. Not been a big mover and shaker for a long time. Like, well, $19.98 was the last time we were in a big trend. If you had bought this in 1998 and you held for the last 30 years, almost 30 years, I've been facetious. I mean, it's gone nowhere. It does pay a fair dividend, but 3.84%. Not really a big breakout trade potential. They don't have a partnership with Starlink. They don't have all the hype that T-Mobile has. So, gotta make your choices. Gotta make your choices. And LHX. Potential for that to come back down. Kind of hitting our head on the all-time high here. Could it break out? It's possible. Got the move up. We got the retrace. If we can break out, the primary target would be here. Secondary target would be up here. So if we can break through that zone right there. Now, if we can get to, you know, there is potential here that we go ripping all the way up here, then we pull back and we make the final move similar to this move right here. That would put the potential final move up around 5. Yeah, wow. So if this can get its bullishness together here, it'd be a move like this, correction like that, then a final move somewhere in that vicinity. Now we can decide to not break out here and go back into correction just as easy. So that's one that it's got to perform. If it messes around here, it makes this bullish stuff less likely to happen. So Riot, you say? I'm not big on charting the leverage stuff because leverage comes with risks. So be careful here. This has a nice pattern. We made a move up. We made this retrace. We've held above the roadmap line. We're above support. Upside potential right in there. There's the high. Here's the low. Here's the upside extension. 16, 17, 19. There's your upside. So looking at the 2x leverage, take that, pull it up there just to the base. 35% upside. That's you have 70% on the 2x leverage. Downside potential support 12. So 20% downside to a 70% upside. Much better risk reward proportion. And then if we outperformed up to 19, it'd be even better. So this held up really well today for Bitcoin getting beat the punch in the face. Held up really well. Right there. So that's ROX for you. Leg under the roadmap line. There's your upside resistance. There's more. And potential for continuation lower. This looks like a first move, second move, a third move potential down here. Low price stuff though, stuff under 10 bucks doesn't always follow the pattern. Be careful. Falls into a weird category of low liquidity that doesn't always follow the patterns properly. AGLS failed to break out, came back to the roadmap line, still has a 124 upside potential and support here at 102. CCJ has potential to retest that fib line and this breakout and that roadmap line before we push higher. So upside right now 89, support 67 and 62. Be careful. We might be entering into a pullback in the markets. All right. I'm down to Kevin, and that was CCJ. That's the last channel member. So I'm going to circle back up, pick up the subscribers. Everybody from here on out is just equals. So we'll hit all of it that I can. ANF, probably still correcting. So be careful here. So we did a big head and shoulders top, and then we did an extra shoulder, you know, squeeze thing, and then we broke down. And we proceeded to go the entire head to neckline down here. Bottom out just above that. So now that price action up off the low is not what I would say impulsive in fashion. You know, it's not really an impulsive type move. We have a first move up, Kind of wicked. Retrace. Resistance right there. May not be able to get there. The move down or retrace, that very easily could, if we break down between, you watch that uptrend of lows, we break down below that, could come all the way down here and finish up the unfinished business back here. Be careful on that one. Sure, it could be the bottom, we could be bouncing. That's the price structure of this move has me question whether that's going to get continuation. It's very overlapping. See this move up. I mean, we got that move up. We got the, swing in here. We got this retrace that's overlapping. Then we got this big pop, and then we pretty much overlap that. And then what comes next? I don't know. Like this, it just doesn't look very clear at all. It's not bullish structured price action. It's actually corrective type structure. I would expect resistance between these highs and that level right there. And potentially a roll back down. Right there. That's ANF for you. Sorry. All right. Already did Mora. That was AMD. Watch for the retrace. The CEO of AMD and the CEO of NVIDIA are first cousins. I didn't know that. I found that out the other day. I think Sunday. I was listening to a podcast talking about big tech and technology for AMD and NVIDIA and who might win. And they were like, well, they're kind of cousins, so that needs a retrace back down to this area at least, if not down here. Find support, trend, pullback, continuation. Big upside potential, but we need that retrace. I mean, otherwise the resistance is right here at this prior high. And if we can just pop through, set the upside. Retrace would be my primary expectation, and better for me, the trend pullback continuation thing. We've just been one big rip off the low, came up to resistance, and glanced off of it. And that's what we got for now. AVGO pushing on out. High potential to retrace. This does kind of meet that. Let's talk about that 3 to 6 month consolidation thing. Remember earlier in the conversation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breakouts. 6 to 12 months outperformance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We probably could expect 3 more months up here, if not 9 more months up here. Outperforming the S&P. Now look at the smaller picture. It does look like it wants to retrace a little bit. Maybe retest one of these fib lines. Retest that fib line. Retest the breakouts before we push on higher. Yeah, I like when people say the fib. It's like there's a lot of fibs on here. Which the fib are you talking about? Even people are like, it's gonna bounce off of the fib. I'm like, which the fib are you even talking about? There is no the fib. I mean, and then everybody runs their fib lines differently. I commonly use these right here: the 50, the 618, the 76, the 100. This is my own invention right here. This one, when people talk about the fib, most people won't have that one because that's 90% of the 1272 right here. You take the 1.272 times 0.9 equals 1.1448. Why do I use that? Because when this bounces like it did, we get the close above the 618. 75% likely we'll hit that target right there. 70% likely we'll hit this target right here. 35% likely we'll hit this target right here. 75, 70, 35. That's a big drop off from here to here. 40% drop off. That shows you trend is strongest here. Still pretty strong here. Gets very weak right there without getting a retrace. So be careful. All right. That was AVGO. CLSK. That one, I don't have any good news. That's the bad news. Downtrend highs. 3-wave up. Guess we're continuing. Guess what the trend is. Didn't even, I mean, ugh. Not even strong at all. So we've got support right here at these lows. If we break below that, it's probably going to new lows down around 5. Be very careful on that. That one looks rough. Rough. And AMD we already covered. PLTR has the very real possibility that we topped out right there at that 183 that I talked about for weeks. And support is back down here at the breakouts where the roadmap line is hanging out. Somewhere around 120, 125. Tesla, I cover every morning. Go watch the morning show. We had this downtrend high. Really briefly. Downtrend highs. That's support. That high. Resistance. Support. And then downside target 270. Breakout here. Resistance. I like that. Alrighty. Already, funny enough, I already hit FSLR just talking about run. Carvana. Oh, look at that. Tried to break higher, retraced, retested the breakout. All the things I kind of talk about. Pushed higher again, couldn't do it. Retested that fib line. Pushed higher again, couldn't do it. Retesting this fib line. That's the upside resistance. There's the support. Here's the support. And then kind of free air back down to that 160 to 180 area. So if you're long, watch out for a breakdown below these levels. Right around 320 and then down around 290. If we get through those, not much to hold price up for another $100 down. So the ideal would be to break back up through 380 and look for that upside there at 444, 445. Right there. Moving on. Starbucks, Bucks, coffee. I'm long this, but it's not doing jack squat. It's been sitting here just grinding off premium for 3 months. Frustrating. Maybe I should have liquidated back here, but I didn't. Maybe I should have liquidated when we were up here and I was profitable. Held on to it with the hope and the dream that we break even higher. Debate my life choices right now, but this has a bullish potential right here. This was a nice move up. Not the cleanest, but it has potential for 5. Did a retrace, held the 50, move up, retrace. I need to see it break back through this $100 area and start working on that expansion. I want to see 130, pull back, and expansion even further. Now, my clock runs out in January. So I need this to actually start doing something. Come on. This is my ideal target, 140. Ideal target was 140, but I have my alert right there at 130. I may bail at 130. Be like, that was good enough. This is my plan. I got in way back over here, out to 2026, and I plan on holding for that 140. I put that up, I drew that up there, way out here, and this pullback has been frustrating because it's been lackluster, not non-committal to do anything here. Yep. That's Starbucks for you. I can talk about it for a while. MSTR probably going to push on down. Guess what? We pushed on down. Oh, yeah. Right in the target. So it does have potential to push a little bit lower. That little bit lower would be right down here. Around 330. If Bitcoin keeps being stupid. What did Coinbase do? Did Coinbase get down there? No. Come on. If Coinbase was here or here, this would be like super nice for a potential bounce. But that still has downside potential. So MSTR might go even further down. Not good. Not good. Yeah. So right there is the most I want to see it drop. 300. If it starts below that, we are not looking good for continuation higher anymore. Now, one thing to note, if you are betting big on this baby taking off, should remember what happened back here. Oh, where is it? Right here. Right here. That candle is in January. Bitcoin topped here. That's a lower high. So MSTR has a pattern of topping early and then not performing as Bitcoin ultimately tops out. Guess what we're seeing this time? The MSTR topped out. Back here. Lower high. Was that the top of Bitcoin? Yikes. Be careful out there. DocuSign. So this has potential. We did gap down below the roadmap line. Retested below. Move down. Retrace. Potential to come down here. Does have the potential. It does. So this went lower than this, but so that technically does complete the potential flat pattern here. So upside resistance right there. Downside support. 59 and 52. Kind of the levels I'm watching here. I guess 63 also. There you go. That's 63, 59, 52. Downside, upside resistance right there. Gap fill and the 618 right there. If we come busting up through, upside extension, they're around 114, 115. Stocky for you. UPS continues to bleed it out. Bleed it out. Probably going to break the COVID lows. UPS says the shipping is light, so be careful, everybody. That doesn't sound, UPS doesn't warn about packages being light in times of goodness. So UNH potentially at the bottom. Briefly talked about this earlier. Didn't fully hit my target. We just scraped the top of it. That does leave some downside potential. Made this gap down and gap back up, and it's in a weird channel thing. So we may see this dip back down, retest this bottoming action. Bottomed over here, and we bottomed over here. Let's retest, reaffirm the bottom's in place, kind of set up a head, shoulders. Anybody? And then break higher. Not saying it has to happen, but that would be upside potential if it did happen. Something like that. It's UNH for you. PMM, Philip Morris. Made the high, made the low. Gap down, resistance. Gonna have to see that clear before we can go higher. Much better. MO's got potential up to 105, 110. Big move up, retrace, next extension. Right there. Philip Morris doesn't have that same pattern. PM, not OM. PM. We already did the big move up. It leaves downside potential. Already late to the party here. Yeah, we're already possibly up to 200, but already late to that party. So bigger upside potential, MO. But we'll see what happens. KMX. CarMX. It looks pretty bad. Not gonna lie. Retrace. 1, 2, 3. Continuation lower. I don't know. I wouldn't mess with that one right now. And already did Coinbase, Goldman Sachs. Target is 570, 757, 575, 757. Reddit, RDT. There you go. Upside target 269. We broke through the resistance and coming on up. 269 would be my expectation for resistance. Now, that all said, we're getting darn near close to crazy extensions on that first move up, the retrace, the next move up, and the final move up compared to the first move up right here. That was crazy. We may see this retrace back to the roadmap line before we can go on up to higher targets. Yep. That's Reddit for you. And Stratasys. Do you see the Congress person buying this? The options are almost non-existent, and that looks like a giant downtrend to me. Can we break higher? Yeah, cool, could, but that's not great looking. Now, potential 618 bounce going higher, maybe. That'd be ridiculous numbers. Throw a few bucks on it. I don't know. Is it worth a few bucks? Upside potential could be like 12, 1300. That'd be crazy. We're gonna 3D print the world. I don't know. Some company makes 3D printers. But that price action, I don't know. I mean, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. There's potential on this monthly chart that we didn't quite reach perfect proportions here. Still some downside room. It has nice upside potential, but we got to start doing the things that look like upside potential. So that monthly chart roadmap line hanging out right around 18. So that'd be like $8 up. I mean, that'd be almost 80% return just to get to that monthly roadmap line. And that would be a redonkulous return. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Already hit Tesla, SYM. Looks like we played that move out. I want to see it hold above that level. Overlapping that level, not good. That high right there, around 39-ish. Need to hold that. Need to hold above it. We don't want to overlap it at all. Get the final push, but I don't know. That was the lowest low, so was a breakout through the beautiful thing. That was a breakout through that downtrend highs. So there's the possibility that we come back and back test it and then go even higher and set up a whole new bounce, whole new world. And if we did some sort of back test right there, put the upside potential way up there, that'd be pretty smoking. But so there's danger to the downside here because that's just one pop. We need some sort of retrace to show we're going to go higher again. And no way. Not sure which thing you're no waying about, but JF, JT, JT Fib. I got you. Funny, Jason. Yeah, that 1.1448. So far, there's kind of my path I outlined. Nothing really changed here. 28, back down to 14, back up to 45. We may, these would be more ideal levels, ping-ponging up through there. Support, as always, at the daily roadmap line. This is just copying and pasting the prior moves. Come on now. So that move copied right here, put up here. run the fib line off of it, do the extension, that extension copied here, that extension copied here, that extension. Back to that echo thing. Same size pullbacks, same size expansions. See it commonly in the market. For tickers that do it, they do it reliably. And you can make money off of it. Late, I see, not a symbol. Yeah. Saw Congress, yeah. 111. Y'all are welcome. All right. Yeah. That's the thing I had, like, it made this move up from July 24 to December, then retraced, then made, and it's working on the same size move again. Then I'll probably do the same size retrace, maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. And then I'll probably do the same size expansion again. So that's when they do the repeat thing, they do the repeat thing. I mean, it could take a left turn at Albuquerque at any time and do something else. So, especially if the CEO gets caught with all the company's money in the car and a bunch of dead ladies in the back or something like that. Whether it's a guy or a girl CEO, it doesn't matter. Got to be careful. All right. I'll be back in the morning. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15 every morning. Come see me. I'll have a video brand new out in the channel. If you're a channel member, you can watch it now. If you're not a channel member, be out in the morning. You can watch it. It's on the Genius Act. So I'll see you in the morning, 9:15. Do it all over again. Once again. Bye for now.